Somebody has asked me, what is the non-dual? The non-dual. Well, the non-dual is a construct, is a concept. It signifies a distinction. The way that the mind works is in duality. There's good, there's bad, there's yes, there's no, there's right, there's wrong. There's relative degrees of that. There's day, there's night. Polarities, dualities. And that's the way we structure everything. And even if we go down to a sort of subatomic particle level, we find that billions of times a second things are flashing on, off, on, off, on, off. So it could be said that duality is even the nature of nature, what's really at the root of it. But beyond duality, there's oneness. Duality meaning two, duo, dual, and beyond that there is oneness. But that would presume that something actually existed. So beyond oneness, there is emptiness, which isn't a thing. So it could not be designated as one. Now, let's take it step by step, because it's not just a concept. The non-dual is the place to be, the place to see. So to start with, we look at the dual and we live in the dual as the ego, as the persona, as the psychological self. And those identities are supported with thoughts. And these thoughts are basically the mechanism of duality. Because in nature it isn't really there. It isn't, it's a mental thing. So when we put down the psychological self, which is very easy to do, you can just, instead of being a subject of it, you can take it off and have it become an object. And then who is the one who's looking at the object of the psychological self? What is the nature of the one who can see his psychological self? What is the nature of the one who can see his ego? What is the nature of the one who can see his personality, his persona? What's left when you take those things off? What's left when you take those things off is the non-dual, the spaciousness, the clarity, the peace. And these things aren't relative and they don't change. Now there is a kind of peace that does change. Oh, I feel really peaceful today. I felt a bit chaotic yesterday. Or, oh, I'm not so clear about this today. That kind of clarity, that kind of peace is not the peace of the non-dual. So we have something then that observes the psychological self, that observes what the senses are reporting, that sees through the eyes, that hears through the ears, that feels through the body, that tastes through the tongue and smells through the nose, and perceives through the mental sense. And this is a sense of I am. You are, I am. They are, I am. I'm a separate entity, the observer, prior to the personality. But as someone who asked this question so rightly pointed out, surely that is still another dualism, the observer and that which is observed. Is the observer really real? This idea of a self that I have, myself, no thyself, is that really real? What does experience say? What experience says is that when I become very, very still, Now, Vipassana meditation is excellent for this. I mean really still, prolonged stillness, deep stillness, putting everything down. Where you recognize your body, there's no solidity to it at all. It's just a mass of sensations that give you the sense of weight and form and so on. So let that dissolve. Then what's left is a sense of the perceiver. I'm perceiving this dissolution of my bodily awareness. But then there's a beautiful place where even the sense of a separate self observing phenomena, that also melts. And it is seen that that perception of a separate self was also a trick of consciousness with a very important purpose: to create an objective platform from which this wonderful creation could see and know itself by having two. So the final dualism is between the notion of the self and the self, the great self. When that finally dissolves, it's like a raindrop hitting the ocean and become completely one with the vastness of the ocean. Now, I had an incredible dream the other night, which also speaks about this, because it's not another dualism would be drop ocean. So, in my dream, I'm in a room, and my master, Prem Rawa, is there, and there's 3 or 4 other meditators there, and there's also the presence of 2 or 3 other people there who aren't in bodies. But I can hear them talking, I can hear them thinking, I know that they're there, I can feel their vibe, and in the same way, the meditators that are there, I can feel them, I can feel their thinking, I can feel their vibe. And also with the master, I can feel him there. I can feel his mind. I can feel him thinking and talking and vibrating. We are in one vibration. Even though there appear to be separate beings in it, the presence is actually one. And there's no separation between anything, between me and him or me and them. There's nowhere where I end. I am just there as an expression of consciousness, with no real substantially existing self. But I'm brought into being to witness the wonder of this life. But in profound stillness of meditation, even that separate self sense dissolves, and there just is self-cognizing awareness. This self-cognizing awareness, this pure presence, is completely ungraspable, undefinable, invisible, having many of the properties of the sky. No edge, no center, can't be grasped. Everything happens in it, everything is pervaded by it, yet it cannot be seen. Yet without it, there'd be nothing. There'd be no place for anything to be. So the non-dual is the sky, and everything else is the weather. Distinguishing the sky from the weather is freedom. Perfect freedom. The sky never changes, no matter what happens in terms of weather. So the non-dual is life as it actually, truly, ultimately is. It's the recognition. It's a bit like in a dream. When you have a sleep dream, you're sleeping and you're dreaming, it appears that people have qualities. Oh, that's a person, so he's got some solidity. The space between that person and the next person in the dream is of a different nature to the body that is there. Or the mountain has a different vibration and it's a different thing to the space in which the mountain exists in my sleep dream. But when you wake up, you realize that there was no actual reality to the mountain, the space, and the people in the dream. They were made of the substance of dream. They were made of pure presence. Just like here, everything is seen as empty, having no substantial self. A substantial self must be something that was created from real and remains real and cannot change and is not interdependent on anything else and is not made up of constituent parts. So nothing actually has those qualities. Nothing. And everything is actually exactly the same as the features in a dream. It's all made of the substance of dream. And everything here is empty and made of the substance of this level of dream. What allows us to see that is the non-dual view. Stepping out of the mind. Stepping into pure vision, pure being, pure seeing, and then even relinquishing that. How wonderful. All is well. All is well.